Hi, now I'd like to introduce you to some of the logistics involved in doing homeworks in this class. So as we went through in the previous video, there are a lot of different elements of our lessons for each module. So for a weekly assignment, we'll first introduce new pedagogy. And if you're on the verified track, that we'll have a few questions to check your knowledge. And then the next step is the engage video, and that connects the topic to everyday life examples. And again, if you're in the verified track, you'll have a knowledge check at that point. And then you're going to look at an example project that uses that new coding concept. And so you'll have a tip and see, which you'll learn about later, where you'll learn about the example code, and then you'll modify it. And we have an automated Scratch project checker that you can use to make sure that you've finished all the required elements. And then we move on to the create project, which is a more open-ended project in which you integrate the concepts you just learned. And that also has an automated Scratch project checker that you can use. And then finally, there's a discussion activity, and that is not graded. That is really for you so that you can discuss the topics with other teachers who are going through this same course. And then finally, there is a module assessment that you will complete each week. So there are two tracks. You might be on the verified track or the audit track. So these knowledge checks are embedded in the course. And so that means that if you're on the audit track, you won't be able to see those. However, the Scratch project work, the tip and see, modify task, and create task, can be done by both groups. So in the verified track, this is all embedded into Studio, where all the graded parts are embedded into Studio. But we might send you to checklists that are on forms just for you to keep track of your work. Whereas if you're on the audit track, those same questions that are embedded into Studio for students on the verified track, that's going to be on a Google form outside of Studio for you. Now there's an automated project checker for each modify and create task. If you're on the verified track, that's actually embedded into Studio for you. And so you put in the URL of your project and it will tell you, it will grade it for you. If you are not on the verified track and you're on the audit track, we provide you the link to that project checker and you can go there yourself and make sure that you completed the project. And then finally, the module assessments, again, if you're on the verified track, that's embedded in the course. However, if you're on the audit track, you can still do that. Those are linked to the Google form. But we do note that on the audit track, the big difference is that we can't give you feedback on whether or not your answers were correct. So you can do all of the activities, but we don't grade those activities for you. Right. So in week one, it'll be a slightly different feel from other weeks because there are so many logistics involved in getting started that we've found that teachers who are new to Scratch, and we don't assume any Scratch programming background. So for teachers who are new to Scratch, there's just a lot of things to do. And so we're focusing on that this week, and we're not doing so much of the teacher lens in week one. So you're going to make sure that you get your Scratch account, and then you're going to start using the Scratch programming environment with our lessons. And then the last purpose is really to introduce and experience the different elements of our lesson flow from the student perspective. And so it's really in week two that when I talked about the general flow of a module and a week, we'll kick into that general model. But in week one, it'll be a bit more student lens focused because we need to get you up and running in Scratch. So best of luck. We hope you're very successful.